There comes a moment, quiet and trembling, beneath the buzz of fluorescent lights and the hum of office air, where the fate of your future does not announce itself with applause or alarm. It whispers. In a meeting room, in a hallway, at a desk. It arrives clothed in a choice. And in that moment, no matter your title, your salary, or your experience, one truth stands above all. Your destiny is being drafted by the decisions you dare to make. Success is not luck. It is not timing. It is not charm. It is decision clear, deliberate, courageous decision. Decision is the architect of your destiny. Every email you send, every meeting you take, every hesitation, every move, it's all either building your vision or burying it. Because in the working world, the gap between average and extraordinary is not talent, it's the ability to decide precisely and powerfully when the stakes are foggy and the pressure is loud. You don't rise by knowing everything. You rise by owning something, a choice, a moment, a responsibility. You rise when you stop hiding behind, let me think about it, and start living inside. This is where I stand. Because leadership is not a position, it's a series of decisions, taken before it's comfortable, spoken before it's popular, and lived before it's proven. The first secret is this: clarity over complexity. Most people freeze not because they don't know what to do, but because they think they need more information. So they gather, and gather, and gather. They hoard facts like treasure, believing that more data means better direction. But decision-making does not reward the hoarder. It rewards the synthesizer. The one who can look at complexity and cut through it like a blade through silk. The one who says, this is the signal, that's the noise, here is the essence. Clarity is a discipline. It is not born, it is carved. And it's carved with questions sharper than any spreadsheet. Questions like, what outcome do I want? What matters most in this decision? What's the cost of waiting? What's the cost of not acting at all? Simplicity is not the absence of thought, it's the end result of extraordinary thought. Tip number 2. Anchor your decisions in principles, not pressure. In the fast-moving chaos of the working world, there will always be someone shouting. Shouting urgency, shouting risk, shouting the fire alarm of panic. But pressure is not your compass. Principles are. Do not let the loudest voice in the room determine the direction of your life. Let it be the quiet one inside that says, this is who I am. This is what we do. This is what we stand for. You don't need to chase every opportunity. You need to align with your values. The most successful people in business are not those who say yes to the most things. They are those who say yes only to what honors their code. A true decision isn't made when you choose an option. A true decision is made when you choose who you are, and you refuse to betray that. Third speed. Because indecision is the silent killer of greatness. It does not scream. It whispers. It doesn't destroy with one blow. It decays with 1,000 tiny delays. I'll decide tomorrow. I'm not sure yet. Let's revisit that next quarter. And before you know it, momentum is gone. The window is closed. And the only thing that remains is regret, dressed in professionalism. Speed is not recklessness. It is resolution. It is the refusal to drown in ambiguity. High performers make fast decisions and slow adjustments. Average performers make slow decisions and no adjustments. Which one are you? Every time you delay, you teach your mind that it is safer to hesitate than to act. Every time you act, even imperfectly, you teach your mind that motion creates clarity. The path becomes clear when you walk it, not when you wait. And now intuition, that invisible, sacred thread that pulls on your gut when your mind is busy drawing up charts. Tip number 4, respect your instinct. Yes, gather data. Yes, be informed. But do not outsource your wisdom. In the corporate world, intuition is often looked down on because it cannot be measured. But in truth, it is the most powerful form of intelligence because it is your accumulated experience speaking in real time. You know more than you think. You've lived more than you remember. You've seen patterns, felt energies, smelled risks. Trust that. Don't silence your instinct because the room prefers graphs. The best leaders combine data and discernment. They don't ignore the voice inside. They elevate it. The fifth principle: own the outcome. All of it. The glory and the grief. The win and the wound. Too many people want to make decisions, but none want to own the consequence. But ownership is what builds your power. When you decide and you take full responsibility for what happens next, win or lose, you grow. You strengthen. You become someone who cannot be rattled by results because you are rooted in responsibility. Stop blaming the team. Stop blaming the market. Stop blaming the lack of resources. Say this instead: I chose. I own it. I learn. That is the mindset of giants. That is the code of those who rise. And the final tip, the one that turns good decision-making into legacy decision-making: zoom out. Always zoom out. In the middle of stress, the temptation is to zoom in, to obsess over the minute, the urgent, the petty. But decisions made under the microscope are often blind to the big picture. So you must learn to ask, what will this decision look like in 5 years? Who will I become because of this? Is this aligned with my long-term mission? Or am I reacting to a short-term emotion? The battlefield of work is littered with the bones of decisions made in anger, ego, or fear. Don't join them. Step back. Elevate your lens. See beyond the meeting, beyond the email, beyond the quarterly target. Decide not just for now, but for who you are becoming. Because every decision you make at work is a vote. A vote for your future. A vote for your character. A vote for your influence. Choose with intention. Choose with courage. Choose like the leader you were born to be. Speak clearly. Move boldly. Decide as though your legacy depends on it, because it does. Decisions at work are not made in a vacuum. They ripple, they echo, they move through teams, departments, entire cultures, sometimes subtly, sometimes like a thunderclap. A single decision made by one leader can shift the energy of a room. It can lift morale, ignite innovation, or silence it. So when you sit at that desk, when you stand before your team, remember, you are not just making a call, you are casting a shadow. What kind of shadow do you want to leave behind? A decision made in fear grows an organization that fears. A decision made in courage plants the seed of resilience. People do not follow titles. They follow conviction. They follow clarity. They follow the one who knows how to stand when others sway. And when the pressure mounts, and it will, you must remember this: pressure does not break people. It reveals them. Diamonds are not created in peace. They are forged in heat. Your job is not to run from pressure. It is to learn how to think in it, breathe in it, act in it. Decision-making is not about being right every time. It is about standing right every time. Because even a wrong decision made with integrity can earn trust. But a right decision made with cowardice, that breeds doubt. Success is not found in the perfect choice. It is found in the committed one. Choose, adjust, learn, and choose again. Action creates feedback. Feedback sharpens vision. Vision accelerates mastery. That is how momentum is born. And yet, some of the most critical decisions you will ever make at work are not the big ones. They are the invisible ones. The ones no one sees, no one applauds, but that quietly define the trajectory of your life. The decision to wake up an hour earlier and prepare. The decision to listen fully in a meeting instead of zoning out. The decision to respond instead of react. The decision to hold your standard when mediocrity tempts you. The decision to stay kind in the face of pressure. These are not grand, but they are foundational. They are the bricks beneath the brand, the roots beneath the result. Because success at work is not a headline, it is a habit. Built one quiet, powerful, intentional decision at a time. And you must decide who you will be before the world tells you what to do. Too many people wander through their career reacting to opportunities, reacting to bosses, reacting to circumstances. But success demands that you become a creator, not a reactor. You decide. Not what shows up, but how you show up. Not what you're given, but what you build. Not what you're told, but what you believe. That belief, let's talk about it. Because every decision you make is a mirror of your belief system. If you believe you are average, your choices will reflect it. If you believe you are worthy of greatness, your decisions will stretch into risk, into growth, into destiny. Your external results will never outgrow your internal beliefs. So don't just try to make better decisions, become a better thinker. Upgrade your mental software. Feed your mind with principle, with wisdom, with truth. Read, reflect, write. Make time to think. Because your mind is the executive boardroom of your life, and it needs to be protected like a fortress. If you let fear sit at that boardroom table, every decision will shrink you. If you let comparison sit there, every decision will be reactionary. But if you let discipline, clarity, and purpose take their seat, then every decision becomes a step in a masterpiece. And here's a truth they don't teach in business school. Not deciding is also a decision. Every time you avoid, delay, dodge, life is still moving. Projects are still progressing. Opportunities are still knocking, and if you don't open the door, someone else will. Opportunity does not wait for the indecisive. It rewards the prepared. So how do you prepare? You prepare by practicing. Don't wait for a massive decision to sharpen your skills. Practice in the small. Practice being decisive when it's easy, so you can be unshakable when it's hard. Decide what to wear quickly. Decide what to eat with purpose. Decide your calendar with clarity. Every day gives you the chance to rehearse greatness. And remember, every decision is a test of alignment. Does this action align with the person I want to be, with the company I want to build, with the culture I want to lead? Because you're not just making decisions at work, you're making identity, culture, legacy. That's what this is all about. Not just choosing what to do, but choosing who you are, who you refuse to be, who you are becoming. So speak life into your work. Speak vision into your choices. Speak boldness into your action. When everyone else is stuck in hesitation, be the one who moves. When everyone else is waiting for clarity, be the one who creates it. Be the one who decides. And when the day comes, when you are tired, when the noise is loud, when the stakes are high, and the choice feels impossible, pause, breathe, remember who you are. You are not average. You are not reactionary. You are not here to merely survive. You are here to lead, to build, to shape, to rise. And rise, you shall own decision at a time. The workplace is not just a collection of desks, tasks, and meetings. It is a proving ground of character. It is where ideas clash, egos collide, dreams are tested, and leaders are revealed not in titles, not in accolades, but in the trenches of decision. Because here's what they won't tell you in onboarding. Every moment of ambiguity is an invitation to lead, and leadership is not granted, it is seized. It is earned in silence, when no one is watching and no one is clapping, but you choose what is right over what is easy, what is true over what is popular, what serves the mission over what soothes your pride. That's the battlefield. And your weapon is not your resume, it is your resolve. You will face crossroads, not just one, many. Some will be bold and bright, clear promotions, big projects, tempting offers. Others will be subtle, whether to speak up or stay silent, whether to cut corners or hold firm, whether to push through or pass it off. But all decisions share a common thread. They ask you, not just, what do you want, but who are you? Because decisions are declarations. Every choice declares something about your character. And if your decisions are timid, your life will be timid. If your decisions are reactive, your impact will be forgettable. But if your decisions are built on purpose, discipline, and vision, then you are no longer just climbing the ladder. You are building the ladder. You are becoming the kind of person others follow, not because they have to, but because they want to. There's a difference. When people see you make courageous decisions, when they see you speak the hard truth with poise, when they watch you stay composed while others unravel, something happens. You shift the room. You change the tone. You raise the standard. You become not just a worker, but a force. And to become that force, you must shed one thing above all, the fear of being wrong. Because perfection is not your ally, it is your prison. Waiting to be certain before you act is the fastest route to mediocrity. The greats are not perfect. They are willing. Willing to try, willing to adjust, willing to own it all. So make peace with the unknown. Learn to love the discomfort of growth. Because the more uncomfortable a decision feels, the more likely it is to shape you. And when others run from discomfort, lean in. Let your courage speak louder than your doubt. You're not just deciding what strategy to take, what task to tackle, what risk to accept. You're deciding what life to live. Because all decisions flow downstream. You make a choice today, and it becomes your result next month. You compromise now, and it becomes your regret in a year. But if you plant discipline, know it becomes your harvest, your excellence, your legacy. Think long, think clear, think bold. And when you do decide, commit with your voice, with your energy, with your presence. Because a decision without commitment is just a thought. It carries no power. The world doesn't respond to what you're thinking about doing. It responds to what you've decided you will no longer tolerate, what you are willing to build, and what you are ready to become. Every meeting is a mirror. Every email is an echo. Every project is a pulpit for your values. So decide with reverence. Decide with strength. Decide as though the world is listening, because it is. Colleagues notice, clients notice, teams notice, and most of all, you notice. Your self-respect grows or shrinks with each choice you make. Decide poorly once, and you might get away with it. But decide carelessly, consistently, and you no longer recognize the person in the mirror. But the opposite is also true. Decide powerfully, and your confidence compounds. You start to walk taller, speak clearer, show up stronger. Because now, you're not just working a job, you're walking a path. With your eyes wide open, your heart locked in, and your standards unwavering. That's what separates the ordinary from the legendary. The paycheck collector from the purpose chaser. And don't be fooled, this world will test you. The decision to play it safe will always be more popular than the decision to pursue greatness. But you must remember, safe decisions keep you in the crowd. Brave decisions move you into the light. And if the light exposes you, good. That's where growth lives. That's where mastery begins. That's where leaders are forged. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be present, aligned, unshaken. And you need to remember that the most successful professionals are not the ones who never fail. They're the ones who keep choosing. Choosing learning over ego. Choosing progress over pride. Choosing mission over mood. The truth? Most people at work are sleepwalking, doing just enough. Choosing just enough. Living just enough. Don't be most people. Be awake. Be aware. Be decisive. When you choose discipline over distraction, you separate. When you choose clarity over comfort, you separate. When you choose growth over guarantees, you separate. And over time, those small separations become chasms. They become altitude. You rise. They drift. You lead. They follow. You build. They watch. And one day, they'll ask how you got so far ahead. And the answer won't be flashy. It won't be luck. It won't be easy. It will be this. I chose when it was hard, when it was quiet, when it was thankless. I chose. And that choice made all the difference. You chose when it felt uncertain. You chose when everyone else waited. You chose when the reward was invisible and the pressure was immense. And that's what made you different. Because success does not reveal itself to the hesitant. It opens its gates to the bold, to the one who decides again and again that they are not here to survive the workday. They are here to shape it, command it, transform it. And yes, you will make wrong decisions. That is certain. You will miscalculate. You will overreach. You will underestimate. But that is not failure. That is tuition. That is the price of mastery. If you're not making mistakes, you're not deciding at the edge. You're coasting. You're playing defense. And life does not reward defenders. It rewards creators. initiators. Those who are willing to bet on themselves not because they're guaranteed to win, but because they refuse to sit still while the future passes them by. So make your decision and then make it right. Through effort, through correction, through follow-through. Don't ask the world to give you perfect conditions. Ask yourself to bring perfect focus, perfect effort, perfect resilience. That is what transforms ordinary decisions into extraordinary results. And let me tell you a truth that no manager, no handbook, no training module will hand you directly. What you decide today becomes what you tolerate tomorrow. If you compromise once, you will compromise again. If you say yes to what should have been a no, that yes will multiply. It will grow roots. And soon, you will be buried in obligations that do not belong to your vision. Decide with your future in mind, not your feelings in the moment. Your job is not to please everyone. Your job is to steward your energy toward what matters most. To be intentional, to be selective, to be unshakable in the face of distraction. You must learn to protect your focus like it's sacred because it is. The distracted decision maker is the defeated one. They're too busy responding to the urgent to build the important. But the focused decision maker, they move differently. They operate from a higher plane. They don't need to say yes to everything because their yes is a weapon. It's reserved. It's deliberate. It's rare. And that rarity makes it powerful. When your yes means something, your presence means something. Your leadership means something. Your time becomes priceless. So say yes like a leader. Say no like a guardian. And let every decision carve a path toward your peak potential, not just for your career, but for your character. Because here's the soul of it all. The decisions you make at work are not just career moves. They are spiritual moves, mental moves, emotional contracts with the person you are becoming. When you speak up for what is right, even if it costs you something, you're not just making a point. You're reinforcing your spine. When you walk away from a deal that violates your values, you're not just turning down money. You're investing in your integrity. When you take ownership of a mistake without deflecting, you're not just being responsible. You're building unshakable trust. These are decisions that echo, that ripple beyond the boardroom, that raise the temperature of every space you enter. Because when people see you decide with strength, they feel safer, they feel led, they feel inspired. And inspiration is rare in the modern workplace. Not because people are incapable, but because they are waiting for someone to move first, someone to speak truth, someone to choose growth when it's inconvenient, someone to choose principle when it's not profitable, someone to decide like their life depends on it because it does. You can be that someone, but you must kill the lie that says it's just work. It's never just work. It's where you spend the majority of your time. It's where your habits are forged. It's where your thinking is shaped. It's where your courage is tested. That makes it sacred ground. That makes it the forge where greatness is born or where potential is buried. So make every decision count. Don't just think in tasks. Think in legacy. Don't just think in meetings. Think in movements. Don't just think in performance. Think in principle. And let your work become a reflection of your values, not your fears. Let it reflect discipline, not impulse. Let it reflect strategy, not noise. The moment you understand that every professional decision is also a personal declaration, that's the moment your career stops being a ladder and becomes a runway. Because now, you're not climbing for position, you're soaring with purpose. And the world needs that. The world needs leaders who move from within, who decide not because they have the answers, but because they have the heart, the grit, the responsibility to act when it matters most. That can be you. That is you. If you decide to be, so rise, decide, lead, and let your decisions speak the truth. Your voice may never say out loud, I was here. I chose with courage. I stood for something. I led with purpose. And I made this place better because I showed up. Now choose again, and again, and again, until the life you're living is no longer built on luck, but on the compounded force of your conscious, courageous, unrelenting decisions. And again, until the man or woman you meet in the mirror each morning no longer doubts their worth, because every decision they've made has etched proof into their soul. You see, it is not the big wins that make you proud of who you are. It's the private moments of decision when no one is watching, when it would be easier to shrink, to stall, to play it safe, and instead, you stood tall, you moved forward, you honored your inner code. That's when self-respect is born. And self-respect is the foundation of power. Because when you respect yourself, your decisions change. You no longer chase approval, you chase alignment. You no longer settle for busy, you demand impact. You no longer tolerate indecision from yourself because you know the cost. That's what most people never count. The cost of indecision, the cost of comfort, the cost of compromise. It doesn't come as a sudden loss, it comes quietly, over years, in missed promotions, in withered dreams, in that aching sense of I could have been more. So hear me when I say this. Every time you choose boldly, you silence that voice before it ever learns to speak. But if you keep choosing safety over strength, silence over truth, delay over direction, then regret will become your internal soundtrack. Soft at first, then louder, until one day it drowns out your drive. And nothing is more painful than potential abandoned by hesitation. So choose now before you have to. Choose vision over validation. Choose values over victory. Choose action over anxiety. Because the battlefield of work is not out there, it's in here. Inside your habits, inside your emotions, inside the little choices you make when no one else will know the difference but you will. And let's talk about those moments of silence. Those moments when a decision lies before you and everything in your body wants to freeze. Those are sacred because in that silence, the real war is fought. The war between fear and faith, between doubt and destiny. You won't always feel strong in that moment. You won't always feel ready. But readiness is not the requirement for leadership. Responsibility is. So take it. Take responsibility for the energy you bring into every room, for the way you handle hard conversations, for the promises you make to yourself and the ones you keep, for your calendar, your effort, your mindset, your voice. Take full, unapologetic responsibility, and your power will expand to match it. Because here's the paradox of success. The more responsibility you take, the more freedom you earn. Freedom to say no. Freedom to choose work that aligns. Freedom to rise above office drama, politics, distractions. Freedom to move with purpose while others stay lost in motion. But it begins with you deciding, once and for all, that you are not waiting on permission to be excellent, not waiting on someone to notice you, promote you, rescue you. You are not waiting. You are choosing. And what you choose today writes the story others will read tomorrow. Will they read about someone who followed the script, who played it safe, who faded quietly? Or will they read about the one who broke the mold, who acted when others paused, who thought like an owner, even when they were just an intern? That choice is always yours. Your title doesn't decide. Your salary doesn't decide. Your degree doesn't decide. Your daily decisions do. Because the truth is, no one becomes legendary by accident. No one builds influence through convenience. No one writes a legacy through comfort. They choose with intention, with courage, with consistency. And they choose again, even after failure, especially after failure. Because here's the secret, the world forgets. Failure doesn't disqualify you. It refines you. It educates you. It sharpens the sword of your decision-making. If you're paying attention, every wrong choice teaches you how to make a right one next time. So stop fearing failure. Start fearing stagnation. Start fearing mediocrity. Start fearing a life where you stopped choosing, where you drifted, where you coasted. That is the real tragedy. Not defeat, but detachment. Decide now to never be detached. Be all in. Heart, soul, voice, values. Bring all of it to the table. Because one day, your decisions will outlive your job. Your results will fade. The emails will be deleted. The meetings forgotten. But the way you decided, the strength you carried, the way you shaped culture, lifted people, changed the atmosphere, that will remain. That will be your real work. So take a breath, stand up straight, look that next decision in the eye and remind it. I don't need certainty to move. I don't need consensus to lead. I don't need permission to rise. I decide. And then do with faith, with fire, with full, unapologetic commitment. Because every time you do, you're not just changing your career. You're changing who you are. And who you are becoming is unstoppable. So keep deciding. Not just in the conference room. Not just during performance reviews. Not just when the stakes are high and the eyes are on you. Keep deciding when no one sees, when no one claps, when the decision is to go the extra mile on a Tuesday night, to learn one more thing after hours, to bring excellence when mediocrity would be forgiven. Because that's where your edge is carved in obscurity, not in applause. And one of the most powerful decisions you'll ever make at work is to bring meaning into what you do, even when it's mundane. To see every task not as a chore, but as a canvas. To treat every deadline not as a burden, but as a test of character. To walk into the building not just as an employee, but as a creator of atmosphere. A thermostat, not a thermometer. You set the tone. You do not just reflect it. You decide what energy follows you. You decide what weight your word carries. You decide how people feel when they work with you and long after you've left the room. That's the unspoken power of work. It's not just about what you produce, it's about what you project. And the higher you rise, the more important this becomes. Because leadership is not just about result, it's about ripple. You influence people not through the memo, but through the moment. The moment you chose patience instead of pride. The moment you admitted you were wrong. The moment you backed a teammate instead of throwing them under the bus. The moment you decided to be the example instead of waiting for one. Those moments, those decisions, they multiply. They multiply into trust, into culture, into movements that outlast job descriptions. Because the truth is this, your job will change, your title will change, your workplace may change. But the way you decide that follows you everywhere. That becomes your reputation. That becomes your advantage. And that advantage isn't built on always knowing what to do. It's built on being the one who will choose, who will act, who will adjust, and who will own it, all without excuse, without delay, without fear. That's rare. And that rarity is what makes it priceless. Because while the world teaches people how to do tasks, how to hit goals, how to navigate toolset, fails to teach them how to decide like a leader with strength, with stillness, with foresight. So now the responsibility is yours. Decide not just for what needs to get done, but for who needs to rise. Decide not just for output, but for impact. Decide not just with logic, but with legacy. What story will this decision tell in 5 years? What energy will it inject into the team? What standard does it reinforce? What mirror does it hold up to the people watching? Because people are always watching, not to judge, but to find someone to believe in, someone to model, someone to remind them that power is not a position, it's a choice. You can be that reminder if you decide to be. And here's one more thing they don't teach enough. You must decide not just what you'll do, but what you'll let go of. Let go of perfectionism. Let go of waiting for the right moment. Let go of needing everyone's agreement. Let go of every limiting belief that tells you, who are you to lead? Who are you to decide? Because who are you not to? You are here. You are aware. You are awake. And that awareness is enough to begin. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You don't need a title to take responsibility. You don't need more time. You need more clarity. And that clarity comes the moment you decide that you are no longer available for small thinking. no longer available for emotional reaction, no longer available for indecision masquerading as research. You are available for truth. You are available for action. You are available for legacy. And so you speak like it, move like it, choose like it, because every small decision is a rehearsal for something greater, a rehearsal for that big moment that will one day arrive, the one that changes everything, the one where eyes are on you, where the room goes quiet and they wait for your word. And in that moment, if you've practiced well, if you've built muscle in private, you will not flinch. You will not freeze. You will decide, and your decision will cut through fog. It will settle nerves. It will shape direction. It will reveal the leader in you, not because you had all the answers, but because you had the courage to choose. And in the aftermath of that moment, people will remember not just what you chose, but how you chose, with certainty, with steadiness, with the weight of someone who knows that decisions are not just about work, they are about worth. Your worth, the worth of your time, the worth of your values, the worth of the people who count on your courage to unlock their own. And so you become the example, not the exception. You become the culture, not just a consumer of it. You become the standard bearer of clarity in a fogged up world. Because the world doesn't need more managers. It doesn't need more noise. It doesn't need more vague vision and shallow decisions. It needs people like you people who decide and decide again and decide better and decide boldly until every room you walk into remembers the weight of your conviction. And every decision you make becomes not just an action, but a legacy written in stone. So let this be your revolution. The quiet revolution of one mind refusing to think small. One heart refusing to numb itself with distractions. One voice refusing to whisper when the world demands a roar. Let the way you decide become your protest against mediocrity. Let it be your anthem in a culture obsessed with comfort. Let it be your art in a workplace addicted to autopilot. This is your craft now. Decision is your canvas. Conviction is your brush. Vision is your color. And every day you paint. Not for applause, not for reward, but because it is who you are. Because to choose with courage is to breathe with purpose. And if you ever forget, if doubt creeps in, if you hesitate, if you wonder whether it's worth it, remember this. Every empire was once a single decision. Every movement began with one person who said, enough. Every legacy starts the moment someone chooses to stop existing and start leading. That someone is you. It's not about who believes in you. It's about what you've decided to believe. It's not about what's happening around you. It's about what you choose to build from within. It's not about the job, the boss, the title. It's about the person you bring to the battlefield, the soul behind the strategy, the fire behind the function. And that fire, it doesn't come from talent. It doesn't come from permission. It comes from one thing only, the decision to never again let your life be dictated by doubt. So breathe in, stand tall, feel your feet on the ground, feel your heartbeat rise, because this is your moment, not someday, not next week. Now, this is where you decide once and for all that your work is sacred, that your presence carries weight, that your voice is a catalyst, that your decisions are not just professional, they are spiritual. And you are no longer available for hesitation. You are no longer interested in average. You are no longer waiting for life to choose you. You are the one who chooses, with fire, with discipline, with faith. And no matter what the world throws at you, no matter how loud the noise, how strong the doubt, how heavy the burden, your answer will always echo through your actions. I decide. And with that decision, you rise. You lead. You leave behind every version of yourself that ever settled, ever stalled, Ever made small choices, hoping for a big life? You bury that version in the dust of your former fear, and you walk forward bold, clear, and unshakable. This is your time. Choose it, claim it, live it, and never ever look back. And now that you've chosen truly, chosen not in thought, but in being, the real work begins. Because decision is not a finish line, it's ignition. The fire is lit, yes. But will you keep it burning? Will you carry it into Monday mornings, into late nights, into the mundane, the messy, the moments no one sees? That's where greatness either thrives or dies. Not in one powerful choice, but in the discipline to make that same choice again and again and again without applause. It's in how you enter the meeting you'd rather avoid. It's in how you lead a team that's tired and uncertain. It's in how you respond when your ideas are rejected. It's in how you hold your vision when others can't see it yet. This is the part that separates those who visit greatness from those who live there. Because every decision costs something. And the most valuable decisions often cost the most. Your comfort, your ego, your excuses. But what you gain in return? Clarity, direction, unshakable momentum. You no longer waste energy on what ifs. You are too focused on what's next. And let me tell you something true. The world notices. They may not say it, they may not show it, but they feel it when you walk in the room, not because you're the loudest, but because you are the clearest. You are not wrestling with who you are. You've already decided. You're not questioning your values. You've already anchored them. You're not chasing every idea, reacting to every crisis, following every trend. You've decided your mission, and now your feet move with intention. That is rare. That is magnetic. That is unstoppable. And yes, the path will test you. Not once, always. You will be misunderstood. You will be judged. You will be doubted. But don't let that shake you, let it sharpen you. Every great leader, every great builder, every great creator was once considered unreasonable. Their decisions looked reckless until they redefined what was possible. Let your decisions do the same. Decide to be early. Decide to speak truth. Decide to do what others won't. Decide to operate from standard, not emotion. Because the ones who rise, who truly rise, are not controlled by how they feel. They are guided by what they've chosen. And what you've chosen is rare. What you've chosen is to lead from the inside out. To move through life and work as a person of clarity, of conviction, of unstoppable commitment. To let your yes mean yes, your no mean no, and your actions roar louder than your voice ever could. So guard this decision. Guard it from the fatigue that whispers, take the easy route. Guard it from the voices that say, you're asking too much of yourself. Guard it from the subtle erosion of standards, the death of greatness by 1,000 tiny compromises. And if you ever feel the fire flicker, return to the root. Why did you choose this path? Not for applause, not for praise, but because there is something inside you that refuses to live asleep. Something inside you that won't settle for good enough when you were made for impossible. That's the real decision you made. That's the contract you signed with your own soul. And from this moment on, no matter where you work, no matter what role you play, that decision walks in with you. It sharpens your eyes. It lifts your posture. It moves through your speech, your tone, your presence. You are no longer waiting for the right moment. You are the moment. You are the spark. You are the reminder that excellence still exists, that standards still matter, that work done with heart and purpose can still change the world. So take one final breath, feel the weight of what you've decided, and now go bring it to life. With every email you write, with every conversation you lead, with every problem you solve, with every standard you uphold, with every person you inspire, simply by showing up full, present, intentional. Because in the end, your life will not be measured by how many decisions you made, but by how many you made with fire. Let your fire be known. Let your fire be felt. And above all else, let your fire burn long after the moment is past. That is how you change a company. That is how you change a culture. That is how you change a life. That is how you change yourself forever. Decide once. Live it daily. And the world will not remember what you said about your work. They will remember the way you move through it.